Shugochirwa, that Tomang was undoing the Panando of Pakachi, Undunya Matapanda, dissipation chair. Then was a Bambo and Dingin Nakatiranda, Timber to be Basata, and Warang Jitsa Imbala number Timber to Basata, that Tango, Jitsa Lam Chuja was said that you so many years and Mugachi. But the Timiko. That should be said that you was done in the city. It is Nanga. So the Nawi area, no color. Akanda, Kiwatera, Tomam, some deep up with the park. One color, Dinama nothing cheaper. You have some which year. That day, area, in my son, Kubachirua, the Kubarua, in the Yamu, in the Martin Kubachirua. That in the songs which you got a songs, then you got a song which to some of money.
So we start the session. So we start the session with breathing meditation. The purpose of doing breathing meditations at the beginning is to calm down our mind so that we do not get distracted during the class. So the breathing meditation, then we conjoin the breathing meditations with the nectar purification practice. So your meditative, so you can sit according to the 7 meditative posture of Vairocana. Then you visualize in the sky before you, there sits Buddha Shakyamuni. In the heart of Buddha Shakyamuni is one's own guru, whose nature is no different from the Buddha Shakyamuni. And Buddha Shakyamuni is surrounded by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. From them, light rays radiates together with nectar, 5 color light rays and nectars. So we breathe in the light rays nectar, 5 color light rays nectar into our body, and we breathe out all the negativities, sicknesses, obscurations in the form of black liquid from our body, in the form of black smoke. When we breathe in, then we visualize our body is filled with the 5 color light rays, nectars. It fills our body. So when we breathe in, first 3 times of breathing meditations, we breathe in with our right nostril and then breathe out with our left nostril. And this considered as one times of breathing. So we do this for 3 times. Then the second set of 3 times breathing, and we breathe in with our left nostril and breathe out with our right nostril. And third set, we do again 3 times of breathing, breathe in and out with our both nostrils. So we should breathe in and breathe out, visualizing, as mentioned, slowly.
더 대지라 중화진나 있으면 되다 통지다 한다 dag 친디 만나시 마마지 버티자면 마시 바 장지 문제 바입니다 된지지 만드나 대원 되자 랑도 고로 지원 왕기 다 동행 바 힘으로 비가 끼지자면 된지지 만드나 대와 필수적으로 같은 점마로 제바지지 제바 샤오 는 된지 참만 보셨어.
Then in our mind thinks all sentient beings has been our mothers, and they are in the state of sufferings. Their kindness to us is exactly the same as the mothers of this life. All mother sentient beings, although they wish for happiness and do not want suffering, they do otherwise. They only create negative karma that bring forth the result of sufferings, not happiness. So in our mind, cultivate loving kindness, thinking, how nice if all sentient beings have happiness. May they have excellent happiness.
동행진나 있으면 되다 통지 고소지 문제 비쇼 타다가 전에 점마로 넘어다 저와치치 저와 샤오 연비 되게 ninja 보셨어.
Next, we cultivate compassion, thinking, how nice if all sentient beings free from the sufferings of free from three doors of sufferings. May they be free of three doors of suffering.
더 대지라 동화진나 있으면 되다 통지 고와다는 속이 동화리에 돼 게다 쓸어 보고도 이게 하나 보스 얘랑아 보자 대리니 가서 한다 보고 상지지 공부하는 게 이거든요. 이거도 쓸어 있으면 한다 보고 상지를 이거 신이 그래서 이제 통지도 상지지 공부도 샤오 전주 세고 있어.
Just now, cultivating compassion is to think all sentient beings free from sufferings of three doors. So next, we cultivate bodhicitta, thinking who should take the responsibility to free all sentient beings from lower realms and from samsara. And I should take the responsibility to free them from samsara and from lower realms. However, I do not have the ability to do so. Only those who have achieved the state of enlightenment have the ability to free them from not only the lower realms, also from samsara. Therefore, for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha.
대지에서 최통 지랑 이지 주고 뜻자야네 너무 되게 상황하셨어. 민자 따요장 이상상듯이.
Next, we think all phenomena, not even one atoms, are substantially exist. all of them are lack of inherent existence. They exist by mere imputation.
That is being judged since the transited to Sanjish combat, but they did that change larger in between. Unity, and it's second the unitation of people to me is anti some countries.
So the motivations for receiving these teachings is, for the sake of all sentient beings, I want to become Buddha. And for this purpose, I'm going to receive Lamrim teachings and put it into practice so that I can bring benefits to others.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That the thing also the theater. Such song, that's such a shivatris. Dambang is much the day. Such a song, Tambo Chukun, and what dimensions of Babisham, Damana, but you be chicha. Chiwani, the Michel, and the Hitch was it. That's such a song, as on those service. That's such a shiva and go there.
So today I'm going to talk about the topic under the fourth root outline, the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instructions. So we have already gone through the first three outlines already, showing the greatness of the author, showing the greatness of his Dharma, and how the Dharma teachings possesses those two greatnesses should be listened to and explained. So today I'm going to talk about the topic which is under the fourth root outline, the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instruction.
That's a long reaching movement to window the niche in Nilian. That's such a sort of window constantly. Such a song and what's a window. That we should many done Dambang to much the tradition, but that's we should shape.
So the first three attacks, they divided into two parts. So the preliminary parts and also the actual parts or actual content of the text. So the preliminary covers from the first root outline up to the third root outlines. So the first three outlines are under the preliminary parts of the text. And the actual content of this text starts from the fourth root outline.
That's such a shibodin, Cassini Tamakashi said, so with Yane that Yaranjua, such a shibodin, such a tambola, and Yane to Kalija window. Niva Sumba Shibaba, and Temakashi say, Yanja translate the truth. Danganzo, Chanju Lanrila, Yane Chingi, Kandijio by Narua, Kanda Mantala, Shimamonto Tenda Ningichi, Nevaina, that kind of Chanju Lanri Chimola, Yane Chere. Kanda Tendo Nashi, Cindy Dewatsan, Tendonine, Tendi Yani Chevaina, I was a Koma Chevari, Yani Che Koma Chevarua. Then Nebado, Mantala pe shimming and Tendoniachi, the digital Yani Chevurua. That the reasons are Kanda Chagu Lanjirimbala Yani Ching Kandijina, Maina Kanda. Toja Tatu by the Chanju, so the Chawar, was a Chantunari media, Chanju Seludua. Yoni Chiki Kandijina, Jeburandi Tasso Kandijin by Natoja Tatu by the Chanchus did it. That Lani saw the Kanda, Toja Tatu by Chanchu did, Toji Tassina, Jusina, Lani did Lord. Lani did Toja Tatu by Chanchu digi, Toji, Jusina, Divora, Tapsina, Divora, and that Chiborwa, we did it.
Yeah, so previously I also mentioned a few times about how to practice according to the four root outlines. So I have mentioned a few times in the past already. So just as a reminder, and so that it sticks in our mind. So I will explain it briefly. So whoever practice the stages of the path to enlightenment, and we should not have the motivations of wanting happiness for these lives only. So if we have these as our motivations to practice stages of the path to enlightenment, then there are no difference. We are no different than we are no different from animal beings, because we want animal beings. They want the same as well. So it doesn't serve the purpose of studying the stages of the path to enlightenment. So the least motivations or aspirations that we should have is to have achieved the high rebirth, to achieve a high rebirth. So next rebirth, happiness of next rebirth is the least aspirations that we should have for us as practitioners of stages of the path to enlightenment. So this title of the title of the text, Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. So this enlightenment is the object of attainment. Is the object of attainment, is the object of achievement. And out of 3 types of objects of achievement, and this is the ultimate one, which is enlightenment. And the stages of the path, in Tibetan we say Jiangchup Lamrim. So Jiangchup is the object of attainment, and Lamrim is stages of the path. And these stages of the path shows the method, is the method or the cost to attain the ultimate object of attainment, which is enlightenment. So this title itself shows the method or the cost to achieve the ultimate object, which is enlightenment. So it says, so if we attach to or if we cling to these lives, then we are not a Dharma practitioners. And if we cling to samsara, we are not a renunciate. And if we cling to our self-interest or self-benefits, we are not a bodhisattvas. So if we cling to, if we have grasping, that is not the right view. So the first line, it says, if we cling to these lives, then we are not a Dharma practitioners, because then we are not different from animal beings who wants the same as well. So our least aspiration must be the happiness of future lives or next lives. So, and if not, the ultimate object of attainment, which is enlightenment. And the second line, it says, if we cling to samsara, then we are not a renunciate. So that means we do not have the renunciations. So if we cling to those happiness of samsaric happiness, if we cling to samsaric wealth, cling to samsaric possessions and etc. as the excellent happiness, if we cling, if we perceive as such, and if we cling to it, then we will not develop the renunciations, right? Want to renunciate from, wants to be free of them, free from them. We will not want to part from them. So if we do not have the renunciations, wanting to part from those samsaric wealth, and etc., then there is no way that we will achieve the state of liberation, right?
다 되지라 로아 다 간다 다데가 전에 상세 미세로아 다 같이 시원하시 랑 진지세원 다랑 지부 단다랑 샤와 근데 이체도 두대 봐이나 에 장주심바 디나야 차요 말이세고 장주심바 자원이 차고마 장주심바 차와라 신 개반지 그래서 신 개반지는 왜 장주 스테이지라 지고래 장주 스테이지라 지는 지우디 왜 장주심바 생긴 도고래 장주 심바 민도와라 장주 센지라 지고래 장주 센지라 맞게 장주 심바 생 민도와 자와네 이거 말로와 다디나 키나 장세 미지 라고야 된다다 어랑 샤와 간디지 두바이나 랑 지부 체다랑 레데바이나 신 진지데 로트 제두고 말해 신 진지데 마지와나 장주 센지 제두고 말해 장주 센데 마지바이나 내 장주 심바세 제게 지구요 지구요
So third line, it says, if we cling to our self-interest, we are not the bodhisattvas. So our self-interest here refers to the self-cherishing attitude. So if we engage in all types of activities with the mind wanting to achieving the self-benefits only. So if we want to achieve obtain the benefits for oneself only without any concern for others or about others, then we are not a bodhisattvas because we are under the influence of self-cherishing attitudes. So why do we say that a person's under the self-cherishing attitude is not a bodhisattvas? Because when the self-cherishing attitudes manifest, or when we have the self-cherishing attitudes, then the attitudes of cherishing others cannot be developed or cannot arise in our mind. Since the attitudes of cherishing others do not arise in our mind, then there is no way we can achieve the bodhicitta. And if we do not achieve bodhicitta, or if we do not have bodhicitta in our mind, then we are not to be called a bodhisattvas. In order to be called as a bodhisattvas, then we must develop bodhicitta in our mind.
단 짐바시나 따와 미세 시가 들어와. 단 짐바시나 따와 미세와데 다 수술로 스페셜나 강사베 수술질라 강사베 다 신비 현차의 의도 주되와이나 강사가 다도 주관 진비 현차의 의도 주되와이나 다 강사가 다음에 무슨 또 이시데 이시 강사 다음에 무슨 또 따와데 제투고 말이 자원이 제투고 말이세요. 와 강사가 다도 현차의 의도 주되와이나 강사가 다음에 또 따와데 간다 제투야 때 깔래 가고 싶어 잡고 어떤지 선상 이 간다 짐바시나 따와 미세 또 스탠다드 쓰리로
And the fourth line, it says, if we have grasping, then that is not the right view. So what it's trying to say is, if we cling to the persons, so in our mind, if we cling or if we attach to the view that persons exist as having a self, if we cling, in our mind, if we have the attachment, in our mind, if we cling to the view that persons exist as having a self, persons as having a self, person as having a self, then there is no way that we can develop the right view of seeing the person as non-inherent existence or as selflessness. Sorry, I repeat the whole thing here. So in our mind, if we cling to the view that persons exist as having a self, then there is no way that we can develop the right view, realizing that persons as selflessness. So there is no way that we can develop the right view, seeing the person as selflessness.
당어도 시여도 마서지 시고데 도도지 시여로와 당어도 간다 창주 나리라 냐니 지게 간디지나 다 단다도 소파 도도야게 첸들라 신의 주반 코알을 기능 문제에 짐바시 또미티 예슈마도 버지로와 다 간다 창주 나리라 냐니 지게 토자 타도 버데 창주 송상 이 창주 토자 타도 버 창주게 토발라 다 랑징오 마노와 추 쿵짐바 추 넘바다 바지라 땡고레 데마데마이나 예, 장주랑이 토도 장주의 토도 말이스고라 장주대 도저 타도 장주의 토도 말이스 Then Lanjing or Manua, Chu Kunzi between Lanjing or Manua, Zai Saji Tamboji, Chu Kunzimba Dimission, the Baby Chewa, Chu Kunzimba Dim, the Baby Chewa Digi, Lanjing or Manua, and one Labasu, take as a shield. Long Labasu take as a shield. That Yanni, she has Lanjing or Manua.
So the title of the text, Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. So it shows the ultimate object of achievement, which is enlightenment, and the stages of the path, which is the method or which is the method or course to achieve that. And in order to achieve this ultimate object of achievement, then we have to understand the nature of the path, and then we have to rely on such a path which is reliable. It is authentic, and then it is correct path as well. So we must rely such a path which is unmistaken, and then is reliable, and then by understanding the nature of the path. So this is related to the first root outline, showing the greatness of the order in order to show that his Dharma is a pure source. So it's related to this first root outlines, and under this first root outline, then it discusses about the three trainings.
이치가 대바야고 이래 대바이나 다 퇴상다 전주 대 랑슈실레 투 다 근데 이치가 대바데 지어라 서치 가르기 때문에 이치가 대바데 지어라 취 간다 취되로와 취지 차시데 취되게 연진데 용수도 마시고 취지 차시데 취지 연대 취지 강다 다들 자 있어지 님바되게 당할 그 바시비 취지 쳐와서 되게 다 취지 쳐와다 윤리다 강다 용수가 디시 그래 디시 비토네 대간다 취들라 이시의 대바를 내고 이시의 대바 도도 근데 시바이나 대바들은 조함인데 이러와 도야 명케 대배 대바 띵사고 지려고 어디 사진이바들이 시오.
So in order to achieve the ultimate object of achievement, so just having the first one is not enough. So by relying on an unmistaken path is not enough. So just relying on in order to achieve the ultimate object of enlightenment, just having the unmistaken path is not enough. And on top of that, we need belief and faith. We need belief and faith. So if we do not have belief and faith in the authentic teachings, then there is no way that we will put effort in listening to the teachings and contemplating the teachings, right? So in order to generate respect and faith in the authentic teachings, then we have to understand the quality of the teachings that we are studying or that we are listening to. We have to understand the parts. What does this Dharma consist of? We also have to understand that. So by knowing the parts of the teachings and also the qualities of the teachings, then we will develop faith and respect. Belief and respect in the teachings. So by understand the qualities of the Dharma that we are studying, then the faith and belief that we will develop will be a very firm one.
랑중고 만노아질라 띵고레 대팀마마데 데라 이시데 대발레데레 다 이시데 대바 마치 데라 퇴상지 아 퇴상지바데 자이사지 som바 치와니다 딩베 칠란 니히지 말말 오 디레 담방이 질로 마지 디레
담만이 담템베
인데로와 당 치고지만 지 당을 기빠치듯이 치지와 치와니 dim 치는 희지다자 치와니다 dim 치는 희지다 자와지 들이 사지 스마트 어다 되기 때문에 먼저 배 계산 치고야
So we rely on the path that is unmistaken, that related to the first outline, and having respect and belief in the Dharma teachings, which relate to the second outline, showing the greatness of his Dharma in order to generate respect for the instructions. So by having these two itself is not sufficient to achieve the state of enlightenment yet. So on top of that, we have to listen to the teachings and we have to contemplate the teachings as well. So this is related to the third outline, how the Dharma possessing those two greatnesses should be listened to and explained.
that's just somebody that Tesamjin. That Tesamjin be Sanju Mission be turned la. That Dutado, Jubanyane, Majibana, that Chali Toto Marwa. Sanju Mission be turned la. That Sanju be touch in the bed. And then the digit, London, the digit Dugubadi, she be Tony Roa. She ne, they tell her, she by Matsi, that de la Mus la touch yet. Mus la touch yet, Roa. I was la touch yet, Dugubadi, that's a Sajishiba, Tambangi Lomachi that I Rimba, so a digi, Ngo Shini Tinsune, Mologi, Sunju Matuji Patoroa, Jubanyane, Chief Gubatan, that Chitsi Rimba, that Kenza Nashi, Mano at the rest Kandarwa. Kenza Nashi. Lanji Ngo Manoa, Gori Mantuba, Chela Meba, Gori Mantuba, Chela Meba. Deja Wambo and did Tasungala, Kanditi Ruyame. Oh, that is a Jimba Manchuashi. Yes, I said Shivati. It did here.
Yeah, so having understand the meaning ascertained by listening to and contemplating, then we have to put into practice. So in other words by knowing that this path is unmistaken, then we have the respect and faith in the teachings, that we have to listen and contemplate the teachings. So we have to put it into practice. So not only just listen to the teachings and contemplate it, we also have to put it into practice. So until we achieve the ultimate object of achievement, which is enlightenment. So we have to understand, listen to the teachings, contemplate the teachings, which is an unmistaken path, and whatever that need to be practiced is presented in the gradual order. And these teachings is without omissions or additions, and what is the teachings suitable for the three scopes of beings are presented in such a gradual order. So such teachings we have to put it into practice so that we can achieve the state of enlightenment. So which is related to the fourth root outline, the stages by which a student should be guided through the actual instructions. The topic that I'm going to talk about today falls under the fourth root outline.
That didn't also a couple to share the Dambangi Dilomachi that I remember the lunches of Shinity with Sutini Logic and Rimbanese. That number lunches of Shinity with Suze, Shinity is all my share history.
Yeah. Explanations of the stages by which a student of the actual instruction should be guided. So it has 2 points: the route of the path, how to rely on a spiritual teacher, and the stages of how to train the mind once you have relied. And the first has 2 points: the somewhat elaborate explanation for generating certainty, and the condensed presentation of how to maintain it.
Oh, that Shinity is that under Dinamo Massage. Chinatang, but you choose it to give a Johnson to Timbanese, such a new. That Ambo de Ganda, and Shinity is the machine, or not Shinity other, that Ganda, kitchen bush that chawar. Susi Gilapina, Yundi Roa, the Lumigila, and the Yundi Naji Jawada, Roa, Chen Naji, Mandriba Yenje, Samade, that dilettante Zawa, Tambi Shini, Latini to Maria. For this one, that Nichi got Kanda, me to ge shini tiang de ge chimbo shibuji ta pe lama tamba mambo ji pe misi shibuji ge sna yorwa de ge chimbo ese wo shini de ta su su jila yunde to ba chi chi chu kan di jin ba ina ya ge shini la de je go ba shi ta su de na ma le wo wa.
So under the fourth root outlines, then it begins with the topic of guru devotions or relying on the guru, spiritual friends, or in other words, relying on guru was in other words is relying on the spiritual friends, and it's very important to rely on the spiritual friends, and the importance is mentioned in the first sentence. So first, as all goodness, starting from the development of a single excellent quality and the decrease of a single fault in the continuum of the disciple, has its root in the sublime friend or spiritual friend. So the way to rely on him is important in the beginning. So in the mind stream of the students, so the development of one's quality in the mind stream of the students and the reductions of single fault in the mind stream of the students. So all depends on all depends on the guru, all relies on the guru. So whether we develop a small realizations in our mind or we develop a great realization in our mind stream, all depends on guru. And the importance of relying on guru is very much emphasized by many great lamas. So in this regard, there are 6 points. Characteristics of the one to be relied on, the virtuous friend, characteristics of the one who relies, the student, the way he relies on him, the advantages of reliance, the disadvantages of not relying, and a summary of the meaning of these points. So I'm going to talk about the first point. Teaching tomorrow. Teaching tomorrow. So the characteristics of the one to be relied upon, the virtuous friend or the spiritual friends or the teacher. So first, although generally speaking, in terms of the individual vehicles, a lot is said about this in the scriptures along with their commentaries. Here, only a virtuous friend who guides students on the path to Buddhahood, the Mahayana, by gradually guiding them on the path of the three types of persons will be presented. So even though there are many explanations about the quality or qualifications of spiritual friends, however, here it presents the qualifications of spiritual friends, which is common to the Mahayana vehicle, common to Mahayana vehicles. And here it talks about 10 defining characteristics of spiritual teachers, quoted from Ornament for the Mahayana Sutras. So the qualities are mentioned in this verse from Ornament for the Mahayana Sutras. So he says that students need to rely on a spiritual teacher endowed with 10 qualities. A spiritual teacher with discipline, calm, complete peace, more excellent qualities, with effort, rich in scriptures, who has thoroughly realized suchness, is eloquent, loving, and never disheartened. On that one rely.
두고 말이스 해도야겠니 요 말이스 다 신도 일라마데 토마랑 지도 가지고 그래서 와 근데 그거 선사 다른 게 지도를 두나마 에디니마 아시오와 시니쇼라 주나마 또 말이 바기 되요
So spiritual teachers must. So it talks about the 10 qualities of a spiritual teachers, and the reason why the first quality, which is discipline, is mentioned is because in order for a spiritual teacher to give teachings to others to tame their mind, first the spiritual teacher have to tame their mind first. So if they do not tame their mind first, they are not in the position to tame others. Therefore, the first quality, discipline, is mentioned. And next, it talks about how to discipline the mind, how a spiritual teacher discipline their mind.
다 담보 지도와데 로와 담보 도와시와데 딜리버와 신이 기신이 어때버지면 기신이 신이다 dem바들라 다 토마 도와시와데 주진질라바데 시와 라바스나 담보 주진질라바데 주진질라바데 가르카고스나 다 리와게 니지지 님바스 소 바랑기 지듯들로 와 주진야고 지소마이나 주진야고 지소마이나 다 리와게 쪼방 냠바스 참아다 까는 그래서 참아봐 까는 와 그래서 참아 까는 와선자 다 주진데 랑기 지도와 와 시지 리와게 쪼방 냠바스 조 뒤에디라 샤오 와 도와서데 도와서 뒤에데 랑기 지도와 들이 와
So the first quality is discipline, and what does it mean is discipline the mind, discipline the mind of our spiritual teachers. And for us, qualified spiritual friends, he or she must engage in the training of morality. So, which is the first quality refers to discipline. So discipline here also refers to training in morality. So if a spiritual teachers they train well in morality, then it will mainly stop the negative actions, negative physical actions, and the negative verbal actions.
Another country in the world, Chiringi do down the countries in the world. Kanda Nazota Mugijil Peshan Shingudwa. That Mugis or the Nazutina and the Nazuda de Chong Jina Shingudwa. Tape Langar in Rabina to Katun Roma to get Yan Chung, Man Chung, Roa, Mune, Katu Children Roma to get and Roro Majinge. That Dilla Katun Roya Karugusna, that starts to a Kana lawyer, Gani Kanaja, you enjoy the Roa, subject Gani. That cool, de Panchu wouldn't have sent the Ramba Tamade, so Garpe, Chola Tango Chico, Nasa Shuchimo Tango, Manchuna, Suntena, Ko Tintuore, Ko Panchuna, Suntena. Tintuere, subdige, that number Nashi, Yanchu Manchung, Langala Katun Dotria, and Niba Yoresim. This sort of Yeso, that numati. So that the Langala Katu Dotria, Niba Yorese, the page.
Yeah, so example is given to show how training in morality will be able to discipline the mind of a spiritual teacher. So the mind is likened to a wild horse. So a wild horse or untamed horse. So this wild horse cannot go straight. So you will jump here and there. So you cannot ride that horse to your destination because the horse keeps straying away from the road that leads to your destinations. So in order to ride the horse in the directions you want, then you need a good set of bridle, and that set of bridle then will put something like a metal thing in the mouth of the horse, in the mouth of horse, and then even though the horse wanting to go to the wrong way again, then you can pull the string, pull the strings, and then because of the metal thing is in the mouth of the horse, then you cause pain to his teeth. Cause pain to his teeth. Then it will go straight. It will go straight on the road, and it will not go to the path wherever it wants. So this training in morality. Yeah, so by having a good set of bridles, we'll be able to ride a horse in the directions you want.
만팀바 된디 파 로쇼 땅장은 너 내게디 로와 된디 미데 다수 랑가 삼부질라 가르기 또 두고스나 다 줄인데 다 콜라 줄인데 야보시네 줄인데 야보시 선바이나 다 랑가 로쇼 이제 강가란도 뇌대 수 샤와 잠보 랑가 삼부들라서 치주야겠다 이거 리얼해서 줄인데라 로와 어다 미데 야보 써야다 줄인데라 가리다 줄인데 간다 수수 타바다 간다 원이 수수 타바다 디차고 로와 수수 타야 어디 다른서 따무게다 미기 샤와다 알레가 수도 만티바 땅땅 징게데 딜로워다 가는 근데 로와 어디 다 디츠 랑가 상보라 뒤에다 다 줄인데 야보시 줄인지 야보시 송바이나 당원에 샤와 상보 비는 가 쇼라파 비타부진도 두레스.
Yeah, in this example, this wild horse, tame horse, crazy horse, refers to the practitioners, refer to us as a practitioners. So, as a practitioners of a person who always engage in non-virtues, non-virtues, always traveling the wrong path, always do something against the Dharma teachings, always do something against the law of the country, and is not in accord with the family, the general, is not in accord with the mindset of the family members, nor the general standard of the society, and always do the wrong path, always travel the wrong path, always do something on the wrong side. So in order to tame or to correct such persons, then we have to rely on morality. So we have to train in morality. So if we train well in morality by keeping the vows properly, then we will engage in the virtuous actions. So we will engage the activities belong to the good side, and then we will travel the virtuous path, and then we will become a good persons in the eyes of society. So this relies on the training in morality. So the first quality, discipline. So it shows the training in morality, and the second quality shows the training in concentration.
Se naeda nangdongwa pandoni kirwa se naeda nangdongwa dondoni ki dipa doni the se de rang gi shawatla tsukune gi shawatla tembo ne to bachi ro se de gi shawa kandi ji duguna dila se de tembo ne se de naeda ro shi nangdongwa pa ma ro dendigi pe se de gi shawatla tsu panni de Jemba se wada hinzi duwa o jemba digi se digi shawatla tembo shine njuji na wujide jemba duwa de jemba higini da dina jemba de se de gi shawa kandi jila sono tawona de la pas tembo da wujide na ne da higi se wada o se de la ya chenda pazi chungu man i nayin rundo mundu duwa etsu neba yundo mundu dendi jeba chingino sobaro o dindi jemba de higini yapo yobaina but miti gi shawa kandi duguna nanda kro yomar te pitabu chago jemba higini yapo yo shinchela ta gi shawa duganyane kandi cheguna pitabu chago ta sidi tembo tingin ji lawasi dire.
So the second quality calm, it shows the training in concentrations. So the one that stop our mind from being distracted, and then stop the conceptual thoughts from arising in our minds. That one is concentration. So concentration is the one that cause our mind focus on the virtuous activities, that cause our mind uh, uh, relate to the good quality, relate to the virtuous activities only. So in order to develop concentration, so here talking about the training concentration. So in order to develop concentrations, then we have to rely on two factors. So the first one is mindfulness. So mindfulness is the one that binds us to the things that we want. So bind us to the things that we want. So here refers to the virtuous activities or the virtue. So that bind us firmly to the virtue is mindfulness. So we have to cultivate the first factor, which is mindfulness. So not only that, we also have to cultivate vigilance as well, or introspection. So this vigilance or introspections is like a spy that you always check whether any distractions has arisen in us, or whether our minds fall under the influence of conceptual thoughts or not. So that is like a spy, always checking, always investigating whether our minds has fall under the influence of the conceptual thoughts or not. So we have to cultivate these two factors, mindfulness and vigilance. So if we have these two factors, then we can engage in whatever virtuous activities that we want, and it would turns out a very good quality virtuous activity.
띵은지 라바데 세템보 녀우디 데세 레룬데 소니 데세 레드스 노아 딜라티네 데 양다비 타와토비 시럽테 티치야 레하우여 로아 레하우여 다 간다 시럽게 라바스나 간다 디레 로아 단지데 단지다 데 짜와네 메바 송게지 다 시럽 nombo 디레 간다 시럽게 라바스 로아 다 단지데 메바 조 송게지 다 간다 시럽게 차워 로아 기록 차선자 다 셀레스로 띵에지디야 뭐죠 바이나 다 델라티네 셀레로도 솔레드 셀레스로 와나 티네 양다베 양다베 타와 소치비 시럽데 데간다 줄레 비타부시체 우리에서 왜 데리 델라티네
수수키비 시럽
소치비 시럽다 라바 시럽 라바 소치비 시럽데치 데 델라티네 데간다 다도 단지데 다 자와니메 바스 투요에서 와 딱 먼저 라바 sombo 델라티네 먼저 상지지 공부하거나 대수나 되네래 다중도 공부하거나 대수나 되네 도구요 와 다 니와 희와서 니와 희야를 가르스나 바 신도를 가르스나 다 단지 되게 간다 와 단지게 봐 니와 희와
So the third quality is complete peace. So complete peace, or in other, it can be translated as completely pacified as well. So later I will come to this, why it can be translated in this way. So this complete peace refers to the training in wisdom. So by engaging in calm, which is a training in concentrations, then our mind becomes very focused, and then it becomes serviceable as well. So our mind is made serviceable by training in concentrations. So after our mind becomes serviceable, then we by using this serviceable mind, then we can do the focus analysis. So to do the focus analysis, then we cultivate the discerning wisdom, or wisdom of individual analysis. So we develop this discerning wisdom, or wisdom of individual analysis. Then this correct view, then we will be able to cut the root of samsara, which is self-grasping. So this wisdom of individual analysis is like a knife, is like a sword. They're able to cut the root of the samsara, which is self-grasping. So by developing this wisdom of discerning wisdom, then we will be able to achieve the state of arhat. And on top of that, we can achieve the state of enlightenment as well by depending on it. So here, completely pacified or complete peace. So what does it pacify? What does it completely? What does it? What does it completely pacify? Is the self-grasping. So training in wisdom, or the discerning wisdom, completely pacified self-grasping.
다 디지를 시거들와 다 시거들 농구 추서데 다 단다 쉬어야 가서 소소 랑기 주 현재에서 좀 발라 소소를 참가 인디도 시고와 랑기 인디 참가도 시고래 다 농구 추서야 되래 시거들와 시거들 농구 추서 되래고 다 데카르스나 농구 추서야 돼다 데네손 인디유 데네 도디 데네 뉴비 데네에세 다 데네손도 데네손 손지 소라라서 가서 만도 소소게 대바지고 그래 mambo debajigo re ende ma je geshin dong demba songdo kiji la manjang le ba shi jawa ko chi la se ta dong demba ge dong demba geshi tembi geshin dong demba ge andi songusna jang le ba na soro ta ye ba soro ja chebo endi ji pe sola debajigo re ro endi la do le debajigo re temba ma deja la ma tega sena dia la ba sonde deja la kandi ka stengo do kandi kola GD 같이 있던 거도 그 상황 속에 서로 마음먹이 된다데 세 태바지 주마이나 그 코사마 GD 참바지 때도 해서 GD 참바지 관리 때문에 거로 뭐 들리지 된 거서다 다 옐로마레 소소 뭐 퇴도바지 고래 마도 로마레 소소 태제 총아지 마이나 이 시도 말아 옐로마라 간다 피도 말아 피도야 말이시고 왔다 간다 롱이 추우스나 슈퍼도 가서 롱지 슈퍼 자 근데 샤바나 가서 다 태바 슈퍼 차 그러와 고제 슈퍼 차 되게 간다 근데 도도 디네소 가서 때 가발로나 슈퍼 차 된다 근데 저바이나 단디고 그래 와 어디래 된다 되래
So up to now, the first three qualities that I just mentioned, and these are the qualities needed for oneself. And the fourth quality needed for oneself is excellent quality of scriptural knowledge. So this is the fourth the quality that a spiritual teacher should have. So what does it mean by excellent quality? Excellent quality of scriptural knowledge is also needed, and the text says rich in scriptures. So the terminology is rich in scriptures. So scriptures refers to the three baskets of teachings or three scriptural collections, and they are Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidhamma. So rich in scriptures also means that we listen extensively or study extensively the three baskets of teachings, or we become learned in the three baskets of teachings. And Geshe Dwenjomba says, for someone to be called a Mahayana guru, he must generate boundless understanding when he explains. So boundless understanding comes from boundless listening or studying the three baskets of teachings, and put it into practice as well. So when the spiritual teachers study extensively the three baskets of teachings, then these spiritual teachers will know what teachings suits the disciples, suits the interests of disciples, suits the propensities of the disciples as well. So whether to present the teachings in extensive manner or to present the teachings in a summary manner. So these spiritual teachers know it, and then present accordingly, according to the interests or according to the propensities of the disciples. And so here, rich in scriptures, that means that the spiritual teachers know more than the students, so has more knowledge than that of the students. So if the knowledge spiritual teacher has is lesser than that of students, then this spiritual teacher cannot present cannot bring much benefits to the students, right? So spiritual teachers should have more knowledge or more knowledges than that of the students. And in the words he used is rich in scriptures or a wealth of scriptures. Sometimes they translate, sometimes they use the word wealth in scriptures or rich in scriptures. So what does it mean is the scriptural knowledge must be rich or must be wealthy. So use that as a metaphor. So it means a lot, extensive. Yeah, so not only the spiritual teachers has the scriptural knowledge of the words, and on top of that, these spiritual teachers must understand the meanings of those words as well. So not just having a scriptural knowledge of those words, also have understanding of the meanings of those scriptures. So compared to understanding words, understand the meanings is even far more supreme. So the next quality is having realized suchness. So it refers to the special training in wisdom. So having realized suchness, so in other words, is to realize emptiness. So in this context, suchness refers to the emptiness. So sometimes in some contexts, then this suchness has a similar meaning as emptiness, also has a similar meaning of reality. So they are different in names, however, they're the same in meaning. So this having realized suchness, or refer to the special training in wisdom. So it has three types. It shows three different types or three different levels of wisdom. So the first one is, the foremost one is the wisdom arisen from meditation. Wisdom arisen from meditations. Then this wisdom realize emptiness or suchness or reality directly. So it means it has wisdom directly realizing emptiness. So this is the foremost one. And if we do not have the direct realizations of emptiness, then the second type of wisdom that we should have is we develop wisdom arisen from contemplations, and this wisdom realize emptiness indirectly. So we realize emptiness indirectly by the wisdom arising from contemplations. So if we do not have the first two types of wisdom, then at least we must have the third type of wisdom, which is wisdom, which is mentioned in here as well. So the wisdom realizing it through scriptures, wisdom realizing emptiness through scriptures and reasoning. So these types of wisdom realizing emptiness through scriptures and reasoning is they do not directly realize it. They do not indirectly realize it. They understand the meaning of emptiness through reasoning, through logic. So this is the least types of wisdom that a spiritual teacher should have. And if a spiritual teacher do not have any of these three types of wisdom, then the spiritual teacher is said to not having the complete, not having this quality of having realized suchness. And the sixth quality is having more qualities. So having more qualities, or having more quality, refers to what does it mean is the quality more than that of students.
Loma digi susu indi insade rangle habaji yundin toaji la tia tendiji gegi de chichi changore tendiji meba ina gegi de loma lema yundi chumaji isna ta loma de la yundi tambo ya taji yoba ina yema nyangdo gure ese yema nyangdo gure ese ro memba ji la temba ina te kada loma la yundi ma nyangdo gure.
So that being so, even if he has scriptural knowledge and realization, it is not enough for them to be inferior or equal to those of the disciples. So here shows that the quality of a spiritual teacher must be more than, must exceed the qualities of the disciples. Therefore, someone with more qualities is needed, because in collections of indicative verses, it says, people relying on someone inferior sink. So what does it mean is, if the quality of the students is of a superior one, and if these students were to rely on a spiritual teacher whose quality is lesser or inferior to that of the students, then even though these students have great qualities before, but relying on the spiritual teachers who is inferior to themselves, then these good qualities that they had then will degenerate.
Yundi member business ma nyangdo gudwa member jirtena ta yundi loma dan jago ndabo jirwa ta loma da gegi niga yundi chichu chiba na bojiba ina nyamba da bojina ta loma de la yundi yaji zawani ni ndoya yomasi ta ya yaji zawani ni ndoya yomasi ndo member jete kono tele haba yundi ke shia ke yomarwa tia ke yomarwa dan tia measunda ta loma le haba chimeba ina ta loma yaji zawani ni ndotu mari se Loma Indini Nyangwaina de Loma Jitanga.
And the second line says, those relying on one of their peers stay the same. So those students rely on spiritual teachers whose quality is equal to the students, then these students will not get any improvement. So reason being, lamas, since the lama's quality is equal to the students, then this lama has nothing more to teach, or nothing more to teach to the students. Therefore, the students remain the same and will not get improved.
Oh, Dirish. Da kanda kandishi gurisna. Da lomale habaji guri serwa. Da habaji la temba ina. Da kanda da chogungudu. Da sanjishi kumba tuai. De totu guri serwa. rane loma tele habajila ta kanda gugure te tindiji demba ina te kanda loma de sanji kuba totriage de ya chitu resebo o shitu re modo o da kanda mebada nyambada tindig mare stele ro.
Then third line, it says, those who rely on the foremost will achieve excellence. So this third line shows that we must rely on the spiritual teachers whose quality exceed than that of the students. So more quality, the spiritual teachers' quality more than the students. So by relying on such a superior spiritual teachers, then the students will will develop attainment. So develop the supreme attainment, it refers to the ultimate object of enlightenment, ultimate object of achievement, which is enlightenment. So such a guru can guide those students to achieve the state of enlightenment. So we must rely on the spiritual teachers. Their quality is not lesser than that of the students and is not equal to that of the students as well.
Geshi kato geshi pushungi be tambana jilo jitsu sewde de la yatawa rowa yunde la yata chi tindiji bures den taji shane de songda ngan radi gebo denala miti shesonga ta rowa ta geshi taji shane radi gebo sewade tan rung tembage lalo su shibore geshi rung tembada geshi podo yo o da de solo mi yata sashi radi gebo sna geshi rung tembada 기시 보도와 딱고 로마츠를 로와 완전 된다. 오 디솔라 아이엔데 하바 미야다와시 부르에세 오 덴디스다 데데다 간다 데 주고데다 간다 데레 라나 부야기 엔데 주고데레 셴마 셴라 쳔치아라 토마 수수 질레 데웨 주디데레다.
Yeah. Then it says in the text, Puchunwa said, as I listen to the accounts of holy beings, I look up to them. And Tashi said, I take the old men at Radeng as models. So Puchunwa also said that I look up to them. So because of the qualities, good qualities that they have, so I look up to them. And then Tashi said, I take the old men at Radeng as models. So old men at Radeng, such as Geshe Dundumba and Geshe Potoa. So I take Geshe Potoa, such as Geshe Potoa and Geshe Dundumba as a role model. So I look up to them. So accordingly, we need someone with more excellent qualities as a model to look up to.
수소라 만상바이나 다시나 취시야 셴마 취야라 이게 간다 비슷하게 차고요 그거.
Yeah. So that being so, those 6 qualities are excellent qualities you yourself attain. So this quality oneself is needed so that able to guide other students.
달 하마시요와 달 하마시데 신제선집이 인식을 와 하마시데 신제선집이 인들이 하마시데 간다 마케바 세와 와 데르와 젠두 조아파바 대시들 와 마케바 세와 젠두다 조아파바 대시거든.
So the rest, the remaining 4 qualities. Yeah, the remaining 4 qualities is eloquent and loving, with effort, and never disheartened. So these are the 4 remaining qualities a spiritual teachers should have.
다 간다 신제선 집어도 디마 인도고 충기 추창우도와 다 투나 디파 치문도 힌두이 등아 차중세라 민제 또바 신나 분이 진이 dimba dimba 좋아지 다데 난징아지 용다라 망부지 찬스 고사로와 망부 고사리 다 신제선 제스나 다 디기 된다데 인지레 된다 제선 지나다 와 투나 디파 치문도사 다 간다 투나 디파 치문도 있어와데 간다 산지 쫀딘데기 간다 간솔 로막 지제 배 디바 사진 저기 디바 쓰다마 산지 조딘 되게 취소치나 단어 개요 말에 나수가 주의 주바이나 나수 소수의 주바이나 다 개요 말에 산지 장주서 봐 감각이 막 저런 수고 트스나 막 출루나 누자바이나 단어 개요 말에 소수의 디바티 와 단어 개요 말에 왜 드디 손자 다 디바의 가나 나주 주의 주야 자원이네요 말에 예시고 디 와 소수지시 디바의 고 순간에 사진 디바 여러와 네가 이 순간에 사 디바스
And the remaining fours are the qualities necessary for taking care of others. So the remaining ones are excellent qualities for taking care of others, as they say. And this is a very famous verse, and most of you probably have heard many times before. So it says, the sages do not cleanse bad actions with water. They do not remove the suffering of beings by hand. They do not graft their realizations on others. They liberate, teaching the truth of realities or nature. So, so the first line, it says, sages do not cleanse bad actions with water. So the three doors negativities accumulated by the disciples or accumulated by the individuals, and Buddha cannot wash away those negativities with water, nor the students themselves or the practitioners themselves. If they accumulated those negativities, they cannot wash it with water as well.
Deeper the tree to Dulu in the tree to Pobas the tree to Chinasama to Eroa. That deeper the tree to Yovina. That was a Janso in Rana Dini. He meets the Chibushi Chata. Janso in Rana Dini, Tapar, he Janson Janson, the Chijin, that is a Chibushi already. Roa. That Sanchu in Rana Dineda, a Janso in Rana Dini. That is a Chita chaser, they got a chaser. Deeper tree to Yana. That Janso the churches is how you did. That is a Chiburi.
Yeah. So when we talk about wash away with water, so like for example, we wash the dirty clothes, then with water, then we can wash away the dirt, and bowl, for example, then we can wash the dirt with water as well. So however, negativities of our three doors cannot be washed away by water itself. If it could, then those who stay near to oceans, and those stay near to a clean river and etc., then they will be very happy because all their negativities could be washed away by water.
Shawatanji, Diba de Neva, so to Marisi to Marisi, Roa, Diba de Duma, Sanji Cha, Diba de Sigmaris. Sanji changes in Basunde Jumba in Akanda, Diba de Shah, Diba Siaki or Marisi. That this year, no man Sanji, Sama Diba Cesar, Sinjaka, Gola Chashani, Diba Sama, never Chasaro. Well, that this year never said than the someone Jival had to do.
Then the next line, they do not remove the sufferings of beings by hand. So again, the negativities of the sentient beings cannot be removed by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Cannot just use their hands and then remove the sufferings, remove the negativities of the sentient beings as well. So it cannot, it doesn't work that way, and it cannot be removed just by the hands of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as well. So if we could removed by the hands of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, then the negativities of all sentient beings and would have already purified long time ago. So, however, we are now still left here, and we are now still here and not getting enlightened yet, right?
Tanganzo Lomak Gilama, Jake Maris, Poyake Maris, Posen and Manso, Sanji Jondi, Chado, Manso, Chigi Nansunda, Apple Pushing Ochi, Unspa, Naso Lapan Sishaba and Sepova, Naso Lapan Sepova. That is yours, what is so Lava in Pasha. 얘는 세샤바 근데 보도 해서 맞아 보도 들어 왔다 봐 보다 상지게 잘하는 간다 고실라서 같은데 가서라마 무슨 나니 보여 그랬어 네 요랬어 봐 네 요래마도 상지게 투지게 또비인데 라바스모도 저도마 나서고 뒤지질라마 보드라다 마트리알에 되게 오마 했어
So the third line, you say is they do not graft their realization on others. So in other words, is Buddhas they do not transfer or do not pass their realization to others. So what it means is Buddhas they cannot transfer or pass their realizational qualities in their mind stream, which is 3 trainings, to the mind stream of the disciples. So it cannot be passed just like that, like passing an apple. So how say in example is like when we use the word in Tibetan it's called po. So po it can be translated as pass or transfer. So pass is like if we have we pass one thing in our left hand, then we can pass it to the right hand. So it can work that way, and then we can pass one apple to others. For example, pass to the hands of another person. Apple they can pass like that, but not the realization qualities in the mind stream of Buddha. So it cannot be pass their realization to the mind stream of others.
Oh, that country Google is not also Dipa the country Shagurasina. That in Demba, Chini Demba in Joan Jews, Joan says that did it, and the Dodot. That dear Karisna, that Sanji John in the answer Lando, you need the Martin and Joseph. That Chana Chawa di Maduda Ase. A Chawa ding in Bachana do race. De Chawa Sambo race, did a Lonche race. De Chawang and Baji did a Lonche your Maries. Did a Lonche and Chana and repeated to Jalebi race. That Chawa Sambo dilla, Chura Lonche by na, Churan Drip Sambuchi new race. That the end of the day Martin and the Lando's need. That day Martin by Nashi Tangan with the Lata Chine, the Lata Chine, or this also Sanji Sumba Nashi Lata Chebaina, or dance of the Dipati. That's all me never said. Nobody is what did it?
So how the negativities in the mind stream of disciples or students be purified? So answers lies in the 4th line. Deliberate, teaching the truth of reality's nature. So Buddhas teach the object of adoptions and the object of abandonment. So telling the students that this is a virtue and this is a non-virtue, and this virtue then you have to practice. Then if you practice, then you will bring forth the result of happiness. And if you engage in this non-virtue, then you will bring forth the result of sufferings, undesirable results. So by giving the teachings to the students or disciples, then disciple themselves, we practice accordingly. We practice according to the instructions of Buddha, then the negativities in our mind stream will be purified.
타바 디저 타바다 단지진비야 살아 지당에 이제 다다디 된다디 시행도 상지지 공부해야 와 된다디 시행을 다다디 시시고 되게 덴바시를 되고 시시고 되게 덴바시 와 담보 투는 디바 취무 저서와데 디바데 주군주 덴바다 뇽무비 디시고 와 주군주 덴바 뇽무바 이제 담보 지제 담보디 Dembashino, Jukunju Dembate, that the gender danger in between my share with what. Najing was the Yondala, Dembashi with the Yunji, Eugene about the so Yanji on the share with the Tambudunga Demba share were years over. That another gender danger in Basis, and the thing is to Jundi here in Batua. Jundi River Tambu Jukunju Dembatella in the Debudunga share with what, or they share with what, or thing is. But to the Dipachi Mundus Dibade.
Yeah, so this fourth line talks about how Buddhas guide us to liberations, guide us to the state of state of enlightenment. So these 4 lines also show 4 noble truths as well. So the first line, the sages do not cleanse bad actions with water, and this first line shows this the noble truth of origin. So it shows the noble truth of origin, which is afflictions, which is the causal afflictions. And these negativities or bad actions or negativities is those afflictions. Is a causal afflictions. And in terms of 4 noble truths, and it is the noble truth of origin. So when we talk about 4 noble truths, usually from the practical point of view, the noble truth of sufferings will be first presented. However, in this case, first line, the sages do not cleanse bad actions with water. First, present the truth of origin.
This is the Siniba Doiduma Chag Mississippi, the Akanda, Roa, Jukunju Temba de Latine, and Ribu Dumasia, Duma, or this year, Sinibati, that Dembashinal, Roa Duma Dembati. Duma Demba, Siju Tamboti, Jukunju Temba de Latin, that Ribu Duma, the Ligua, or Sinibati Duma Demba.
And they do not remove the suffering of beings by hand. So by depending on the truth of origin, which is the afflictions, then it creates the result of suffering. So here it says they do not remove the sufferings of beings by hand. So second line shows the truth of suffering.
That's just somebody ninja toba hina toba de akanda toning is to be lande de roa toning is to be ishi de tenda toni nusun to be tawa de tenda shini mashi roa or that tender somebody akanda lande de lande 타발이야 도시시 탑도데 동능에서도 이시 랑디데와 와 랑디스난 디고리 동능에서도 이시스난 디고리 저
And third line, they do not graft their realization on others. So this third line shows the truth of the path, and in other words, is mainly refers to wisdom realizing emptiness or the view of realizing emptiness. So the main method causes to be liberated, to attain liberations is the view or the wisdom realizing emptiness.
다치니 덴바데미 도원제스가 디 사지 담아되겠다 고딘 타바되고다 고안고데 고딘데 동능에서도 비시 델라테네 데 단지에 조이 고데스는 디가 단지에 조이 타바스는 디가 된다 지바로와 단지에 조이 동능에서도 비시 되게 델라테네 데 죽군주 덴바다 두서 빠야기 디치고로와 죽군주 덴바서 빠 kunju temba ta danzi so po la kini e kar don was danzi tele toy then godin to yes ye taba to yes tanda chibar wa.
And fourth line, they liberate teaching the truth of reality. So this fourth line shows the truth of cessations. So it shows the truth of cessations. In other words, it is liberation. So depending on wisdom realizing emptiness, then we liberate from self-grasping. So we liberate from self-grasping, or we liberate from, or we free from the self-grasping. So by this wisdom realizing emptiness, then we abandon the afflictions, which is truth of origin. Then we free from the self-grasping. So this is the fourth line. This is fourth lines. Sorry, what fourth lines refers to the truth of cessation.
That did Kandarwa. That was the Jesus in Balatanda, Dipa Chi to us to reach Yamare, Takanda to Zema, Roa, Chini Demba to be to one, the Talando Jini Tembalatini, take under Dipataya, San Tabar Taji Kubatoya, the tender de Resi, that patient.
So Buddhas, they do not do like this, wash away the negativities with water, to remove the sufferings by hand. They do not pass their realization to others. How Buddhas taking care, or how spiritual teachers take care of others? They take care by teaching the object of adoptions and the object of abandonment correctly. Yeah, so it's expressed here, apart from teaching others the path in a mistaken manner and taking care of them, nothing can be done, such as cleansing by actions with water. Among the 4 properties related to this, eloquence means experience with regard to the stages of guidance and skill at putting across the meaning to the minds of those to be tamed. So eloquence also means that they are skilled in communicating. They are skilled in communicating. So in order to help the students to generate qualities in their mind stream, and in order to help them to achieve liberations, then these spiritual teachers must be skilled in communicating. So skilled in communicating, or skilled in presenting or teaching the method to the disciples. So whether the disciples is of small capacity or medium capacity or a great capacity, then these spiritual teachers is skilled in presenting the teachings according to the mental capability of the disciples. So whether to present the path common to the small scope of beings, or whether to present the path common to the medium scope of beings, or to present the great scopes of beings to the disciples. And these spiritual teachers, they understand as it is, and then present the right teachings according to the interests, according to the propensities of the disciples.
That is the sewa de that sewa de kanda ndire chuti bi kuno namba tabachi. That loma de lama chuti odi that susula suchi Nicola soba tendiji chuna sa de kuno tona that kuno de chaso ni mo ando sare kasi nguma ni ngaso be ye chuni hichi da chawasi ando sarwa hi sarwa o chi hinge de tendiji kuno ando sana ta kanda ngaso ni chi chunso ma shi odi de ka ando sarwa de ka ando sar kanda Loma de la pena sena pembata yajindo sewa pe sentini poro pe de yabu yuachi de ngi chedo da chede mamato susula keso rai chido ngara pe siji chuna sa de ngi chede baina da anjiyo marisiwa wa de ngiyo mari.
Next is loving kindness, means having a pure motivation to teach the Dharma and teaching motivated by compassion without regard for material gain or respect. So these we have already discussed in the context of how to explain the teachings in previous route outlines. So we have already discussed. So it means that the spiritual teachers must have a good motivations to give teachings to the students, and not out of concern for fame, reputations, or wealth. So if they have such a concern, then they already fall under the influence of attachment, anger, and ignorance already. So the spiritual teachers, they should have the motivations wishing to bring benefits to the mind of the students, to cause them to improve from where they are, and then to cause them to become a better persons or become better on their path. And instead, a spiritual teacher should not have the concern for benefits. So if I teach teachings to them, then I will get something from them. I'll gain something from them. So this is not the right motivations that a spiritual teacher should have. Then the next, and here he says, we need someone like Potowa who said to Jengawa, son of Lima. So Potowa called Jengawa, son of Lima. The reason of calling Jengawa in this name, son of Lima, is because Jengawa's mother's name or maiden's name is Lima Yeshiden. Lima Yeshiden. So then Potowa called Jengawa as son of Lima. So to show how close the affections Potowa has to Jengawa. So Potowa said, so however many explanations of the Dharma I have given, not once have I claimed the praise as my own. So what Potowa said, the meaning of what Potowa said is, Potowa never claimed, Potowa himself never think that, oh, I have done well, so well done. So he never had such thought to himself. So the reason he never had such thought is because there is no sentient beings. There is no sentient beings that is not pitiable. So this is this sentence is the words of it is very colloquial. So it says because there is no sentient beings that is not pitiable. So we must do something like this. We must have motivations something like this. So the next quality is with effort. So with effort means that he constantly delights in helping others. So in general, this word with effort, in general meaning, it could refers to the person is very hardworking. So he put efforts doing what he wants to do. So however here, with effort doesn't merely refers to being hardworking only. So here it refers to the effort that he puts in. He happily put effort in helping others. So he happily put effort in helping others. So however much the effort he put in helping others, then to that much the spiritual teachers feels happy. So regardless the actions these spiritual teachers trying to help others, it takes 1 day or take 2 days. So however long, then these spiritual teachers happily put effort in it to benefit the students. So and having this joyous effort, and these spiritual teachers do not feel tired. And the last quality is never disheartened. So it means that he doesn't become weary due to explaining things over and over again, but rather bears the hardships of explaining. So spiritual teachers give teachings to their disciples. So even if it takes 1 day, or even if it takes 2 days, or even if it takes 3 days, 1 week or 1 month to explain the teachings to the disciples for the sake of disciples, and these spiritual teachers, they happily embrace it and never felt disheartened. So, and this related to a point, or to a practice that we mentioned in other class, which is embracing sufferings. So embracing the patience, kind of a patience practice, embracing sufferings. So for the sake of achieving the welfare of others, these spiritual teachers, so physically or mentally, then they embrace the difficulties. So they happily embrace the physical and the mental difficulties, as long as it is for the welfare of others. So they do not have such thought that it's too difficult to do that, it's not going to happen, it is very difficult, and etc. So they do not have such thought, those disheartening or disappointing thought. They happily engage in explaining or helping to achieve the welfare of others. So regardless the weather is cold, regardless the weather is hot, regardless they are in great hungers or not, they embrace the sufferings for the sake of others. So the first 6 qualities are the qualities spiritual teachers are needed, and the remaining the remaining 4 qualities are the qualities needed for taking care of others. So this talks about the 10 defining characteristics spiritual teachers should have, and after that, then there is the coming part is to remove doubt. So there is a part to remove qualms or to remove doubt, and these since we don't have much time, and I will discuss it next week.
다 장소 빌라고 오셨고 너무 이치는데 제만 너무 이치는 빌마 리브레스와 빌마 some conscious.
So next week I'm going to talk about the the intermediate characteristics and also the minimum characteristics of spiritual teachers, and then I'm going to talk about the removing the doubts, the parts that will remove, the parts to remove the doubts, and I will talk about the defining characteristics of the students as well. So please read and think about it.
Okay.
If you have any question. Dr. Go? Sorry. No. Hello. No
yeah,
question.
sorry, it was muted for everyone. Geshe-la, the 3 types of wisdom, when Geshe-la explains suchness, in what context these 3 types of wisdom come about? The one directly and realizing emptiness through contemplation and through logic. Geshe-la, please explain that.
Yeah. The Shirab Sum the Geshe-la Sumimba, so the Kaza Tekonani Dobat said, the Tekabla and Geshe-la Shirab Sum the Shima and the Samjungi Shirab, and the Gomjungi Shirab and Longri Tone, and the Shirab the Kiva Kaza the Tekonani Koachava, and the Kola and the younger Tishikabu.
당아서 상주비시로 대포라니 상주비시로 또 세워다 원수도 또 많이 봐 원수도 또 많이 봐 된지지 또 봐. 제가 들려고 간다 상주비시로 된지지려고 다 공주비시로서는 엄마네 원수도 또 봐시는 거 간다 원수도 또 봐지 또 원수도 또 봐지 강원수도 또 봐. 마주 또 마트에 와 된지지 또 봐. 대 많이 봐이나 다 간다 동반이 되 간다 풍부대 나서 강사라고 사대 덴바 두고 말다 많이 준세 가지나 그 덴바 두고 지도 두고 말했어 덴바 두고 대마 두고 말했어 근데 로디 다 준신 소라 상타네 반 노래 페네 덴바 마두스 송자이레스 또 노래 덴바 마두스 송자이레스 다 준시 그 강사대 덴바 두고 말 덴바 지도 두고 말해 덴바 타대바랑 이 두고 타대도 두고 말해 근데 준세나 때네 때 세나 고아지 샤바지 어떻게 이거 두고 누워서 대랑 진지 두고 오늘 두고 세나 진지 고아지 내봐이나 때 지난 네가지 하고 그랬지
Yeah, so regarding the 3 types of wisdom that I mentioned just now is related to having realized suchness. So I talk about these 3 types of wisdom. So this wisdom arisen from contemplations, and then wisdom arisen from meditations. So the first one, wisdom arisen from contemplations, and this wisdom realizing suchness indirectly. So wisdom arisen from contemplation, realize emptiness or suchness indirectly. So it doesn't realize emptiness directly. And the second type of wisdom arisen from meditations, realize emptiness directly. So you realize emptiness directly. And if spiritual teachers do not have the first 2 types of wisdom, then at least these spiritual teachers must have understanding of emptiness. Like for example, the persons do not truly exist or do not intrinsically exist. The reason why they are not intrinsically exist is because they are not intrinsically the persons and the aggregates. Yeah, the persons are not intrinsically. Sorry, the person is not intrinsically exist because it is not one with the aggregates and is not intrinsically one with the aggregates, nor is intrinsically different from the aggregates. So by having understood this, so having such understanding that persons they are not intrinsically exist, even those reasons and points or teachings are mentioned in the sutra as well. So by depending on logic and by depending on the scriptures, then these spiritual teachers have the correct understanding of emptiness.
무슨 또 보이나 간다 예 파파 창거래 와 간다 소소 지고 있는 무슨 또 두요 뭐 동반이 연시지 또 하다 우리지마도 무슨 또 두고 말이야 아 파피 간사 이바이나 아 무슨 또 두고래 동반이 되는 무슨 또 두고래 와 그때 많이 받지다 고아차 봤나 아 된단데 리더지 렌도 상상하고 있어서 쇼쇼나 보지 하고 같이 와 근데 각 계지 고아 쳐야 그러 매바이나 공반이 있으나 각계 고아 쳐야 선호 동사 각계 매바이나 이 주제까지 쓰고요 말 와
Yeah.
되는 거지 노조 치는 제만게 또 제가 간디지면 각계 좋아요 말어 근데 저와 이렇게 된 지고요 말 간다 이 주제도 쓰고요 말
So if the practitioners realize emptiness directly, then they become Ayara beings. So it becomes Ayara beings because of realizing emptiness directly. So if they only realize emptiness indirectly, then that practitioners is not to be called Ayara beings yet. So must have these two, or at least correct understanding of emptiness. So if a spiritual teachers do not have any of these three types of wisdom, then these spiritual teachers is said not to have the complete defining characteristics. It's just like if a person who do not study much, and if if someone were to ask them what is the meaning of emptiness, then he has nothing to share, is nothing to talk to the person.
Kishila, one small question. Referring to Geshe-la's, Geshe-la's teachings on the four partings, the beginning, the second line that if you are attached to samsara, you are not a renunciate. So my question is, how much is it before one can become a renunciate? In other words, is it sufficient to have a strong disregard or distaste of the 8 worldly concerns? Would it be close enough? Like Lama Tsongkhapa says, is that you don't have any more admiration of cycle existence. So my question is, the 8 worldly concerns of gain and loss, happiness, unhappiness, and so on, whether this, if you have a strong disregard or distaste of having happiness and unhappiness, worldly at least, or having gained and loss, praise and criticism, and the other one being the high positions and low positions, does that enough to get you to really renounce? That's my question. You got me?
Kisla ni di tiring elop sen tangbo la ni di kaza chik shi suin ba ani kawala shenba zai shi ma te mare ani di jingi ba di kawala koala shenba ni ngenjong means di koala shenba ni di ngenjong means ani di ngenjong sa di kaza chi kan di gyawu yona ani di ngenjong ge ma ge ani di chi kan di gyawu yona pena cha shana ani ang so di kaza ji den chu ge la the kaza kyoshi de yoai na this simba mikawa any the yimba ha ko ba ta any the kaza jidin choge de la any the kyoshi de yoai na kyoshi de yoro ko la kyoshi jidin choge la any the kyoshi de 남기 네 지디 시기요 말아와 간다니 디 공기 가서 시당이 다 잡고도 근데 디 지진 추게라 가서 디 두자이 바하고나 근데 디 연중 기바 랍초기르스
이처럼 고안도스 때 야본도스 가서 지딘 체제데 뇌네 쥐인바 데 비슷한 많이 바하고디 딜라페 준시요레스 창들라 페 준신도 시로와 주딘 체제보다라 단제 때나마가 메나가세 디로와 스로와 칸다로와 때나마가 메나가세와 맞아 메나마가 때나가세 디로와 메라타나 가고요 말와 메라타나 가고 때나가고 제 로와 다도 때바이나 소소로페 인디 비슷한 바지네 때바이나 데 한도야 케미 메바이나 소소페 중라야 캔네바 로아 소소가 강용바데 간다 수수게 냥네 지리는 미신다 그 때문에 간디 제바이나 소소는 냥자게 로아요 말이스고 냠자긴 로야 말이와 내 전화가 전화도 거야 들어와 무슨 거라 민주 시야다 단 거의 연디도서라 민주진은 지구를 지나 거야 들어와 거의 배 샤워 간지나 될라배 피스소바 마다 피스소바 맞지가지 거의 샤워 간지 두바이나 대 피스소바다 레비 차다 야고 시다 맞지 비토네 그래서 사마랑네 될라 현샤는 지구 문두상 이 레바이나 예 다들 리그도스 거라 이번 주에 리그도스 이처럼 거야 빼도스
거와 리도 ini di 가장 연중 교라 기바 아니 디 랍초기요나
연중 데 잡고래 지고래 같이 나는 리서스 가나 거의 샤워라 그래서 와 거의 샤워라 간다 피스소바 많이 봐 간디시 데 텔레 심바 텔레 뉴데 제바이나 예반 뉴데 제바이나 딱 연중 지초그리스데 지초그리스 코알라 마 거의 샤워 연데 간디지 피스소바이나 데라 예반 뉴데 질러 제스나 딱 코알 연중 납초그리스데 내가 내 제보라 와 지금 취지부터라 왜 현장으로 그래서 그 예반 뉴데 상타나 디사르스 코알라 뉴지 디비스도
Yeah, so you have a very good understanding about this. So when we talk about 8 worldly concerns, then we understand those 8 worldly concerns as understand their faults. And like for example, if someone praise you, then you become very happy. If someone criticizes you, then you become very sad. So if we have a disregard for 8 worldly concerns, so even though others praise you, then it doesn't make you a better person. And even if someone criticizes you, it doesn't make you any less as well. So so when others praise you or criticize you, then you just treat it equally. So and not only the 8 worldly, and you can expand it to all kinds of samsara, all kinds of quality or good things in samsara or whatever actions that you do. So you do not regard those samsaric ones as excellent, and you do not consider those samsaric one as good. It belongs to the good side. You do not classify them as a good or excellent, and then you do not develop clinging or attachments to them. So if you have such do not cling to those activities or those good qualities or those good things or excellence in samsara, then you can consider these as renunciations.
Very good, thank you. That this stop here, yeah, to reasons in the
yes.
This is that's
all. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, stop here.
Yeah, good question. Yeah. I'm not watching it.
Yes.
I'm going to during the gates and the Latini. Let you temper Japan the water. Tell about the Sanji timber. It's in your business change and that Jibutamba. Sudajinapa, who say in the deer. In the country shop in the Java. In the town. Here on that. Tanzania. Neada. Matuda. Mijelas on Tedapa. Mayua. The teachers and promises.
So we dedicate merits accumulated, especially through receiving or listening to teachings of sages of the path to enlightenment. May be the complete cause for all. May be the complete cause for Buddha Dharma to flourish in all 10 directions, and for all sentient beings to have happiness. We also dedicate these roots of virtue for whoever uphold the Buddha's teachings, for whoever preserve Buddha's teachings, and for whoever protect Buddha's teachings. So may they have long life, and may their enlightened activities be accomplished instantaneously. We also dedicate these merits for the world peace, and may happiness prevail in the world. So may the world be free of pandemic, conflict, war, and famine.
Dagi Jini
Sabi Giwa Di Denan Duwa Kunla Kambe Tangiba Jisun Losang Dabai Tembe Nimo Rendo Seje Shui Semju Rimbo Je Maki Pana Kikyu Ji Kiba Nyamba Meba Yangone Kundo Bewa Shui Rimbo Je Maki Pana Kikyu Ji Kiba Nyamba Meba Yangone Kundo Bewa Shui Mitawa Rimbo Je Maki Pana Kikyu Ji Kiba Nyamba Meba Yangone Kundo Bewa Shui Jin Jamgun Gewe, then Zinkyong Bewe, Kunsu Tobose, Chosum Bue, Lemon Tujo, Bataso, Tuje, Kundo, Shabde, Jo, Sundu Jube, Lang Chichi, Sese, Kanchen, Tenjugan, Chana, Bemo, Tenzin Gazola, Soa, De Soje, De Jo, Sho, Pende Madu, Bakale, Jungwe, Sambe, Ishin, no, Kati, Sume, Tenzin Gazola, Soa, De So, Tuje, Jo, Sho. Owe Shingang De Pendang De Wa Ma Du Jung Wei Ne Chere Se Wang Den Zin Ga Zo Ye Xia Bei Si Te Ba Tu Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you.
Sheila.
Thank you.
Thank you, Geshe-la.